All right, so here we have a 2006 Toyota Tacoma. We're going to be replacing the brake pads and rotors. All right, so the first thing we're going to have to do is remove our rotor, or remove our caliper. We have two 17mm bolts on the back here. We'll go ahead and loosen those up. All right, so I'm going to use a breaker bar and a 17 to loosen these up. They're pretty tight. All right, so now that we have our two bolts out of the backside of our caliper to hold it down, we need to remove our mounting tab here so we can free up the caliper because we have a hard line right here. All right, so we'll go ahead and remove this 12mm bolt. All right, so here you can see where our two mounting bolts were. There are quite a bunch of other bolts on the back here that hold the caliper together. All right, so we'll go ahead and set this somewhere where it won't fall. All right, so now we're going to remove the rotor. There's two ways to remove the rotor. We could find some bolts that fit these threads here and screw them in. It will pop it out. I'm going to try just to use a hammer and smack around the perimeter to free it up. And we're going to be... Alright, so if I was reusing this rotor, I would have not have smacked on it. I would have used these holes to press it out. Alright, so before we put our new rotor on, I just want to go ahead and clean this surface up here, this rust, so that the new rotor will sit nicely. All right, so here we have our new rotor that we got from Auto Parts Direct to You. It does come with a specific coating on it from this manufacturer. All right, so what I'm going to do is I have a little tool here. I'm going to go ahead and press our brake caliper back, the pistons. All right, so here I have the two new pads that I got from Auto Parts Direct to You. We have our anti-squeal tab and then our squealer for our brake indicator. I'm going to go ahead and use one of these just to help with sucking up some space there to press these back. All right, so now that I have the pads pushed back, I'm going to go ahead and set our caliper back in. Go ahead and put my bolts in. Make sure we retighten this with our breaker bar. Okay, so now we want to pull our pads out. Okay, so we have some little clips on the side here. One on the top, one on the bottom. All right, so we just want to push our pins. We got to kind of wiggle the pad around as we do it. Let me get a needle nose. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to clean these up with a wire brush real quick and some brake clean. All right, so now we have our pins cleaned up. We'll go ahead and remove our spreader. All right, so we want to go ahead and pull our pads out now. All right, so there's our one inboard pad. As we pull our pads out, what we want to make note of is which way our brake indicator was. So once the pad gets to a certain minimum thickness, this right here will be touching the rotor and gives you kind of a squeal, and that's kind of lets you know that you need pads. So that was probably what was telling her that was what was going on. All right, so we're ready to put the tire on. We'll go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. Oh, no, we're not. We need to put our line hold down. And tighten our caliper mounting brackets back down. All right, now we're ready to go do the same thing on the other side. All right, so this one here is just giving us a little bit of trouble, so I'm going to use the little bolt, supplied press that they give you with these. All right, so all right, so that one popped that side. There we go. All right, so we're ready to put our tires back on. We want to pump the brakes before we back it out, and we're all set to give it a test ride.